Okay, now you should be able to hear me.
We are
Hello,
starting
dear
just
friends
in 2 minutes.
and friends of our friends. To those who I was not able to meet last night, my name is Miryana, and I'm from Plexistab Bulgaria. So who are we? We produce PVC hoses. We are a small company, and therefore we are very flexible and customer-oriented. We are export-focused. We are present in more than 40 countries on 4 continents, but of course our favorite one is Romania. And yes, actually, we are more a family than we are business. We have my mother, Biljana, who most of you know, at the driver's seat. My sister and brother-in-law who are here with me here today are also doing work for the company. My father, my grandfather, my uncle are in the company. So basically, we are one big family with big hearts. And we have spilled that over also to the people that we work with. Our employees are with us for more than 10 years, most of them. And our customers, well, most of them know me since I was a child. So our motto is, we help you grow your reinforced hose market. And in the case of Hydrosystems, actually, we have not only grown together, but we have grown up together, literally. I want to ask you to play along with me in a small game. Can I ask all of you to stand up? Everybody, also in the back. Okay, so now dance. No. It's much easier than that. So I'm gonna ask those of you who have started working with Hydrosystems as suppliers or clients, doesn't matter, in the last 2 years, please sit down. Okay. Those of you that have started work with them in the last 5 years, please sit down. Who have worked with them since the last 10 years, please sit down. 12 years? Please sit down. Panos, I hope that you will oversleep tonight. But anyway, basically, I'm the last one standing, together with my team from Plexistab. You also?
No, because we introduce sales.
Okay. So we're counting on 13 years together, and at the end of this year, it will be 14 years, as long as they've been on the map with Hydrosystems. It has been a wonderful ride. And as our dear friends from Hydrosystems said in their beautiful invitation, 14 is a very big milestone. You stop being a child and you start taking responsibility and looking to the future. But one thing, Vasily, I don't know where you are, but one thing that you had very wrong in that invitation is that at 14, puberty is over. I think you have children at almost that age, and this is wishful thinking. But let me tell you, it is just now beginning. In any way, 14 seems to be our lucky number. There's a lot of 14s in our equation, and I want to put one more on the map. Here, this is me with my family at 14 years old at the 5th anniversary of Plexistab in Bulgaria. This is the first time I met Vasile, when I was 14 years old. Let's pretend that not that much time has passed since then, because I'm so young. But in any case, we have certainly grown up, and we have done it together. So let's get back to focus. We need to talk about hoses. And what we do in Plexistab is that we produce 4 different brands of hoses. We have spiral hoses, we have polyester yarn reinforced hoses for high pressures, technical hoses, and also we have metal spiral hoses, and our newest addition to the family is our double layer lay flat hoses. But first, before talking about them, and they will be the focus of our presentation, let's go to something that we already know. Okay, this is something that most of you should be familiar with through the brand Aquafix. It's a water delivery hose. What I want to do with the products that you actually know, I want to give you small hints, tips that you may know, but maybe they will be also useful for you for the future. When you look at spiral hoses, and especially these ones, you should. The most important thing about a spiral hose is the spiral, of course. So always make sure that you inspect the spiral, that it's a perfect circle. This is what guarantees you the quality of the technical characteristics of the hose. So the pressure, the volume. With a lot of products, sometimes you see that the spiral is flattened. It's done mainly for economical reasons. So always when you have a perfect spiral, you know that this hose should perform very well. Then you have another familiar face, the BULFLEX. Whether you know it in white, in gray, doesn't matter. It's used for pool installations. And here what you should be careful about is the surface. Of course, it needs to be perfectly smooth in order to be easy to install in fittings and anything else that needs to be connected to the hose. Then you have this hose, which is actually very interesting because it's an extremely light hose, very small size, but it's extremely mass produced because it is used for air conditioning installations. And what you should be looking at here, and it's very interesting, is the adhesion. So the connection between the wall and the spiral. Very often, because this hose is so thin, you see sometimes in competitive products that it breaks very easily, this connection. So how you should test this, you of course keeping the bending radius, but you can bend it, or you can pull it to the two sides. If the surface breaks, that means that you have a problem with this hose and it will not perform well. Now, these 3 products are the ones that I know you know, because they are very familiar also to Hydrosystems. But we have dozens of other products that maybe you have never heard that are more industrial, that I want to talk with you a little bit more today. So you have the normal water delivery hose in the beginning, but also we need to look at heavier duty hoses that are more suitable, for example, for construction. Yes, this one, for example, is very good for transportation of concrete. It's a heavy duty hose, and it is also very smooth. And yes, but have in mind that it is smooth because it is heavier. Again, the spiral is perfectly circle. Now, another even more interesting hose that I even have here with me today is again a very heavy duty hose, but extremely elastic. So you can pass it through if you want. So this one is able to be so elastic because it has rubber additives inside it, and that's also what allows it to work to up to -40 degrees of temperature. Our colleagues from Russia, from Ukraine, which are here, know this product very well, of course, obviously, because the weather conditions there demand it, but it also has a lot of good application on warmer climates as ours, because it is used for fertilizing in agriculture, it is used for zero system tanks. It has multiple applications and it's extremely interesting and attractive product.
Yeah.
Also, you have this one, also quite specific. It is an oil-resistant hose. Again, super elastic, as you see, not quite as much as the other one, but still quite elastic. It also has rubber additives. Okay. From this side. It also has rubber additives, and it's actually suitable for petrol and petrol products, not gasoline though. Also, it also can be used for any other uneditable oils. Before I'm over for the spiral hoses and I go forward, I actually want to give you a few tips that I think are very, very important for all the customers. As you know, a hose is a consumable, so it has quite a small life cycle. In order to not shorten it even more, we really need to store and transport this product appropriately. So, the few tips that I need to share with you are first the UV protection. So all the hoses that you have are foiled in coils. This foil, it is UV resistant, and that is why a lot of customers think that they can just leave it outside under the direct sun because, for example, they don't have an inside storage. But this is a huge mistake. Never leave a hose under the direct sunlight because there is a green gas effect that happens inside the foil, and actually inside the temperature starts to be plus 80 or 90 degrees. And all of you know that the PVC can only sustain to plus 60 degrees. And what happens? It starts to deform, sometimes even melt, if it stays there for weeks especially. So, the other thing, store on pallets. Even if the stock comes to you without pallets because you want to put more things in the truck, after that, always store it on a pallet. And when you store it on a pallet, have in mind not the column not to be too high. Because when it's too high, the weight becomes very, very high, and then the bottom row can also be deformed. Okay, the bending radius. It's something that nobody likes. But a lot of you as customers to end, suppliers to end customers, what you do is that you have a row, but you unroll it, you cut a piece, then you have to roll it back together. And what a lot of people make as a mistake is that when they roll it the second time, they don't keep the bending radius that you can see in catalogs, you can see it everywhere. If you don't keep this bending radius, again, you can see a deformation in the hose. So have that in mind. When you transport to clients, to end consumers, make sure that you put something in between the columns of the pallets. A Velpape carton, doesn't matter what it is, just to prevent two rows from rubbing against each other and create friction and like cuts in the hoses. And lastly, but not least, never place a roll vertically. You always should place it like on the floor. Never vertically, because in a couple of weeks you will see also deformation. Now, our main story, the main event. These are our lay flat hoses, double layered lay flat hoses. We started production of them in the beginning of last year. We have already had a lot of success in a couple of markets. So I'm very excited to share about them with you today. But before I give you the overview of the product as a whole, I want to give you a little bit of a context. So where did it all start from? The story is that in the 1920s, as happens with all brilliant thoughts, two companies in two corners of the world had the same idea. So one was in Greece and the other one was in Japan. And they literally filed for a patent for a lay flat hose almost at the same time. Of course, that created a lot of legal activity. And at the end, actually, what was discovered was that they had two different technologies. So they were able to both place a patent and both products started being produced. Of course, a lot of development and a lot of change has happened since then to arrive to the product that you all know today. But in any case, one thing is for sure, that this product, the lay flat hose, completely changed the way, especially irrigation, but a lot of also industrial processes are made. This is what we can offer to you, 5 different series for the most wanted pressures. So basically, you can see the last
Numbers.
in the series. You have 4, 6, 8, 10, 16. This also corresponds with the pressures of the hose. One thing that I also want to give you as a tip here, just to have in mind always, is that of course you have 4-bar lay flat, but when you go to big sizes like 203 or 8-inch, 6-inch, the bar always goes down. The bigger the size, the bar goes down a little bit. In any case, I want to share with you the strong points of our product, and it starts with a very well-established know-how from Plexistab Greece, which maybe some of you know, most of you. We have shared their know-how, and we are using their technology, which is very well known on the market. So it is guaranteed quality. Also, to guarantee the quality, we have laboratory certificates for all the pressures, so they're completely guaranteed what you see in the catalog. We use only virgin material also for the inside of the hose, which is not the case with a lot of competitors. For series 8, for 8-bar, 10-bar, 16-bar hose, we have rubber additives inside, which makes the hose even stronger. And last but not least, all the series, the hose, the outside layer of the hose have UV protection, because of course this hose is very much used in agriculture, and in order to prolong the life of the product, we need this UV protection against the sun. Why should the customer use this product instead of something else? Well, it has a lot of strong selling points. First, because it is flat, an agricultural machine can pass through it, of course, never when water runs through it, because then the pressure becomes too much. But when there is no water, the machine can just pass through it without any problem. It is resistant to water and humidity, something that, for example, pipes start to erode with time. This is not really happening here. You can use it that's why you can use it for multiple seasons. And not only that, it's actually extremely easy. It's one of the easiest solutions to store between seasons, because you just row it in a small row and you can place it somewhere. It is much easier than pipes for installation and deinstallation. That is actually one of the main reasons why customers prefer to use this in their irrigation system. Now, something that I really want to stress a lot. Our advice is, with the double layer lay flat, do not break the surface. So do not use it as the monolayer lay flat for the main supply to the drip irrigation hose. Because when you break the surface of a double layer hose, what can happen is, if it's not done properly, an air bubble can be created between the two layers, And then when you start actually using it, somewhere the hose just bursts and you receive a claim. But what you can use this hose for is at the highway from the pump or the well or wherever the water is, um, you get the water to the actual field, which can be 5 meter, but it can be 50 meters, it can be 500 meters of distance. So it is important to have that in mind, although in countries as Bulgaria, also in Greece, they also use it to connect the drip hose. It's just not something that would be my first advice, at least not if you are not sure that the customer is piercing it in the best and correct way. Us against the competition. Always something that the salesman want to know. What are our strong points? Well, first you need to make sure that the customers know the difference between a double layer and a single layer. Because especially what you have from the Far East right now, if Romania is anything like the Bulgarian market, you have a market full of these products. Many of them are single layer, monolayer hoses. So we need to make sure that our product is a different product that also has its place on this market and also has a different price. Then you have the guaranteed pressures. You will notice that actually we are keeping a little bit above the standard of most producers. For some sizes we perform even better in pressures, and it is guaranteed. Then you have the braiding. It's extremely important. The braiding is polyester yarn. Again, what you have from a lot of producers, especially from China, from Korea, it's a cotton yarn, which is far less strong. Then, of course, we use materials that apply to all the European standards, the REACH standards, whereas a lot of non-European producers do not cover these standards. And lastly, the UV protection of the outer layer that I mentioned, which prolongs the life of the product, which a lot of other products don't have, so they have very fast amortization. Now, I realized that I gave you quite a lot of information. Even if you don't really remember all of it, I will make sure to speak to you again at our stand later in the warehouse, so we can speak about them again. But the one thing I want you to remember from this presentation are these names: Dragoș, Leontin, Daniel, Rossi, Dorin. These are the salesmen that I'm assured that are right here today with us, and all of them are ready to accept your orders. Thank you so much for your attention.